Hey everybody, Sean from Media Assault here, and it's time once again for another movie review. This time out, it is the pre-theatrical review of John Dies at the End, the new film from Don Coscarelli, who of course is well known for directing Phantasm and Bubba Ho-Tep. And this is actually his first movie in about 10 years. Last movie that he put out was Bubba Ho-Tep, and that is one of my favorite films of all time. I really enjoyed the quirky aspects of it, the zany B-movie quality to it that it had. I just really enjoyed that movie. It's a movie that when you explain it to people, their eyes just sort of roll back into their head and they don't really understand what the hell you're talking about. And I could say the same thing about John Dies at the End. If I tried to explain this film, your eyes would glaze over, unless you've read the book by David Wong, also known as Jason Pargin. You're most likely going to have a reaction of like, what the hell are you talking about? Very briefly, this movie is sort of an acid trip on film, is the only way I can really describe it. It tells the story of two guys, Dave and John, who are sort of thrust into this situation where they're trying to track down an invader of this dimension from another dimension using a tool that is given to them via a drug called soy sauce, which is this black goopy stuff. They can sort of travel between dimensions and see things before they happen, have memories of things that haven't happened yet. It's very bizarre. I don't want to even go any further explaining it to you because I'll just make it sound more bizarre than it is on film. It's a very enjoyable movie despite the fact that it may not sound like it makes any sense, because it doesn't. Watch the trailer. I'll put the trailer in a link below and it'll give you some sort of idea of what's going on here. It's visually one of the more visually appealing films that I've seen in quite a while. It's very inventive, I should say. I wouldn't necessarily say it's appealing because there's a lot of gore in it. But even though there's some CGI, there's a lot of practical gore effects in the movie as well. And if you watch my channel, you know that the more practical effects you can put in your movie, the more that I'm probably going to like it. If you look at this film from a strict narrative sense, as in it telling a cohesive and a continuous story, this is a movie that's going to be very hard to enjoy. And when I first sat down to watch it, I was trying to kind of put it in a box and make it a film that I could enjoy, or was hoping to enjoy from beginning to end by it telling a cohesive story. But what it really is a collection of zany, off-the-wall moments, that some of which are just merely set up and then knocked out of the park by the movie and the script. Others are just really purely inspired bits of filmmaking. It's one of those movies that I think is going to have a huge popularity at midnight screenings. It's going to be a true cult film where people are going to go and, you know, recite lines of dialogue and things like that. So it's a movie that's very hard to sit down and watch one time and go, hey, you know what, you gotta see John Dies at the End. I think it's one of those movies that you really have to experience it. The more people you experience it with the first time and then experience it again, you know, over and over again, I think the movie would gain more appeal. So if you're the type of person that doesn't like zany, weird movies that don't really seem to add up to much when you're done with them, you're probably not going to like John Dies at the End. In a certain frame of mind, this is a fantastic movie. Part of me didn't like it. Like I said, I tried to put it in that narrative, okay, here's the beginning, here's the middle, here's the end type thing, and it really doesn't fit into that kind of box. It's more of a collection of zany moments, fantastic visual effects, and really funny comedy. It's very inspired, it's very cool, it's very inventive, but it's also very unconventional and doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But it's interesting, I can say that. So if I had to give it a rating, I'm actually going to give it 2 ratings. One would be if you're somebody coming into this movie never seeing anything by Don Coscarelli, not knowing having any idea of the type of movies that he makes, he's always got sort of a flair for the weird. This is probably his weirdest film to date. You're probably not going to like this movie, and you'd probably give it a 5 out of 10 at best. But if you are familiar with his work and you like his work, you liked Phantasm, you liked Bubba Ho-Tep, hell, you liked The Beastmaster, you're going to like this movie a lot, I think. And in that sense, I would give it an 8 out of 10. I liked Bubba Ho-Tep better. I liked Phantasm better. But those are more conventional films, and I tend to like conventional films a little better than these sort of cult movies that are just collections of wacky, weird moments. But I have to say that not only are the visual effects in this movie good, but the performances are great. He's got a great cast here. You'll recognize some of the people immediately. Clancy Brown from Shawshank Redemption, Paul Giamatti from a myriad of work. Angus Scrimm is in it in a cameo, an extended cameo. Of course, the tall man from Phantasm. You'll definitely notice him. And the two new leads whose names escape me, I believe one's name is Chase Williamson, and I can't remember the other guy's name. They are very good in their roles as well. Everybody in this movie is very, very good and handles the insanity quite well and makes it that much more believable as far as you can believe this movie ever happening or not. It's got a great script. Of course, it was written by Don Coscarelli for the screen, but it's based on the book by David Wong, again, also known as Jason Pargin, who is an editor at Cracked. I don't know. This review probably seems like it's rambling quite a bit, probably because it is, and it's just like the movie. It doesn't really have a beginning, a middle, or an end. So go see John Dies at the End if you definitely want something different out of your movie-going experience. It hits theaters next month, January 2013. It is available on demand on Vudu, on iTunes, and on Amazon Video for streaming. So definitely check it out. It is well worth your time, again, if you know what you're getting yourself into. So that's my review of John Dies at the End. And as always, feel free to comment, rate, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take it easy.